Good morning. How is everybody? How you like my hair today? I was doing good until I had to run around outside real quick and it's all hot and sticky out there. Thanks for coming to Monday Methods. I'm Bradley McAllister. I am ready to have fun today. I feel good. I'm in a good mood. I had a great weekend. I did some resting. It's always good to watch a NASCAR race if you're a fan on a Monday morning or on a Sunday afternoon. Makes your Monday morning pretty good. So what are we up to today? We're playing with resin. We're in the Independence Day spirit. We're going to be working with a couple of pieces I cast the other day in red, white, and blue. Lots of fun stuff. I've got a little bit of a story to tell you about how some of this came together. So I'm going to wait just a minute, make sure everything's adjusted. Let the folks come in. Keep an eye on things. Everybody let me know how things are. Let me see who's out there. I see my dad is out there. That's cool. Good morning, Dad. Hope you're doing well up there in North Georgia. I am looking forward to today's little gig here. I'm going to adjust. I need to work on these anyway, so I'm going to adjust these while we're waiting. We're going to be using these to these are the EasyWood Tools Big Easy Jaws. We're going to use that to first grab our Independence bowl, and the buttons are all in way the wrong place. Good grammar. So I'm just going to do these for a few minutes, get this in the neighborhood, and that'll get us closer to ready to go. Big doings here at Spiracraft this week. Coming up on Wednesday is our second anniversary. We had a celebration for our grand opening 2 years ago. Then last year we had our first anniversary. This year we're having our second anniversary, so Spiracraft is heading into its third year. We're really excited about that. Great things are coming along. We've been growing like a weed, doing lots of things out at the woodworking show. We expanded our retail at the woodworking shows to bring folks a lot of good things. So that was wonderful growth. This year for the celebration, for our anniversary celebration, we've got discounts. We've got 10% across the board in the store discounts. We've got a 15% discount on select items. If you look on the Spiracraft Facebook page where you may be watching this, or you can go to the Spiracraft events page on spiracraft.com, or if you have gotten an email from us, you won one out this morning letting everybody know, go in there, click on the register. That'll give you the codes for the discounts. The codes are good all week, all the way through the weekend, through the 5th, in celebration of 4th of July and Independence Day and all that good stuff. Michael, good morning, buddy. How you doing? So yeah, great savings there. We're giving away a lot of stuff. Now I should know right off the top of my head, since I wrote all the copy for it, exactly what all we're giving away. I'll forget a few things, but I know we're giving away a Carter & Son hand thread chaser, the Mike Mahoney design thread chaser tool. We're giving away an EasyWood Tools parting tool, giving away a whole set of Chroma resin and colorant tints. I should have put up another screen on one of the other computers so I would know what I was giving away. Carter & Son. Yeah, the guys that got the Carter products, we're going to give away one of the Center Masters, Center Finders. Where's mine? I don't see if I see it right off. It's around here somewhere. Because we have a special guest with us this year. Has not been with us before for the celebration. Alex Snodgrass, the bandsaw master, is going to be joining Spiracraft on Wednesday, and he's going to give a demonstration with the Carter Products circle cutting system for cutting your blanks on a bandsaw. I really appreciate Alex coming in for that. It's a product that we use. We use it up at the shop in North Georgia where my dad, who's in here, is. That's how we cut all our blanks round. Alex came to our shop years ago up north and set up our bandsaw. And my dad is my main bandsaw guy. So we use the product a lot. It works well. So I don't have one here to show you, but I do have a Center Master, and it's probably in this drawer over here. But I'm going to change cameras for a second. We'll be giving one of those away because it's part of the system that you use. I never know where I throw things around here. I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, I heard a beep and I don't like that. Something beeped, that's scary. I got one around here somewhere, and it goes right in the center of your faceplate to help you align after you've cut. I know, I'm kind of running around, but that's kind of usual for me. I don't know where it is right now. Anyway, Alice is going to be demonstrating that for us, and we're going to give away one of the centerpieces that you use. It's called the Center Master, and it goes right in the hole you drill to cut your blank. Zach Higgins is going to be with us. Zach has been with us. This is his third event with us. Zach is a great friend and a good mentor. I learn a ton from Zach. When it comes to resin casting, Zach is the guy. If I have a question, I go to Zach. He's wonderful. He's very helpful, full of information. That's what he does day in and day out is resin casting. NV Woodworks, great guy. Can't say enough about him. Happy to have him back with us again this year. So we're having a lot of fun. We'll be Wednesday. We start at noon, and we'll be doing the demonstrations at 2 o'clock. I'll do the giveaways for everybody who is registered. If you go ahead and register, you're registered for the number of prizes, and some which I forgot what they are off the top of my head. And I'm under pressure here; it's live. But I'll give away all the door prizes. Then I'll announce them, and you do not have to be present to win. So if you can't make it because it's noon on a Wednesday and you might be working these days, and I hope you are. But you will get an email and let you know that you want it. If we don't have your address, then we'll get your address from you and we'll send it out to you. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to give away some other things that aren't even in the list. I've got a bunch of Chroma markers, aniline dye felt tip markers. I think I have red, blue, and yellow. I'll just be pulling those out and giving them away some random fashion in the event. So lots of things going on with that. Looking forward to it. So that's on Wednesday. Again, I'll be posting on the Spydercraft Facebook page, about it, and I've got lots of posts out there and things running on it. So come join us on Wednesday and at least sign up. Go to the store. You can save a good bit with the 10 and the 15% discounts. You might win one of the goodie prizes, so that'll be a lot of fun. All right, time to change gears. I got my buttons in place, sort of. And we'll get down to business here. So I decided just a couple days ago that I wanted to do Independence Day theme, 4th of July, red, white, and blue. And my crazy camera always does this to me. It doesn't like the colors. White balance does strange things. But I'm going to pull this in here. This is our Spin Gem product, the Chroma Spin Gems. Now the color looks a little weird in this, I know, and I need to change camera, Brad. That would help for you. Red, white, and blue Spin Gems. They are a polyester polymer, and they're chips. And we're going to make up a batch, and we're going to make another color today. Something I've wanted to do for a long time with this product. There's a whole range of colors in the Spin Gems. Solid colors, and then there's also blended colors that look like granite and different stones, actual faux stones. So you might notice that this one has the Spin Gems in the bottom and then kind of straight resin swirls in the top. Well, there's a little story to that I'll tell you in a minute. But here's the other blank that we'll turn. This is another first one I cast yesterday. And the story goes together. So this one was done in a Dixie cup. Not Dixie cup, but a plastic cup. And one of my fancy molds, like so. And it is solid. This one is solid. Solid Spin Gems and Chroma resin. And one other item that we have that's in here now, and we'll be putting it in the store pretty soon, is our Iridescent Glitter. And I don't know if you can see it with the shine, but you see all of what looks, at least to me on the camera, looks green. Those little green flecks are iridescent glitter from another company that Chroma owns called Spike It. And Spike It, we're going to repackage this into the Chroma line. So we'll be having this. This is the iridescent glitter. They got all kinds of goodies over there at Chroma. And that's what's in, some of that's in here. And we're going to be putting some of it in our other mix today. So what's the story, right? You're saying, okay, Brad, you said there's a story. Well, I'm in South Georgia now, and it's 95 plus degrees in the afternoon. So yesterday, when I decided to mix the resin, the Chroma resin, the 2-part epoxy, typically has an open time of about 2 hours, right? So I mix up the resin, set the timer on my phone for an hour and a half, so I'll be sure and come out early. And I decided to go ahead and go out there a little even earlier, about an hour early, right? And I had the resin sitting in one of these cups, one of these, these are 24-ounce cottage cheese cups. This is one of my main mixers. So anyway, I had it sitting in this cup, and I came out, and the entire top inch had already gone to a solid gel within an hour, because it was 90-something degrees. And so I wasn't completely ready. I had my spin gems mixed up, but I wasn't completely ready to pour, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this batch of resin. I don't want to lose that much resin, just throw it away. So I took a stick and I just pulled out the big chunk that was already set up, poured it into a cup, poured the resin in, and then grabbed my spin gem mix and poured the spin gems in. So that's all I got. That's all the bigger I got. That's what I was able to save from my resin setting up so fast. So I had already mixed up X amount of spin gems, right? And I ended up mixing up the entire containers. And then I decided to make my bowl, which I had planned to do anyway. Well, I didn't have any more red, white, and blue spin gems out here with me. And I thought, well, that should be enough for my bowl mold, which I'll show you here in a minute. So I went ahead and mixed up another batch of resin and all that. Didn't wait for it to start to set up. I just said, I'm going straight into the pot with this. Started pouring it in, and I realized that I was only getting halfway with my spin gem batch. So I had to mix up some more resin and pour in the top. And so I just threw in some color. I put some red, white, and blue into it. And let me go back to the overhead here. I put some red, white, and blue on the very top, and then I just kind of took a stick and I poked it down in there just to get a little bit of a swirl. So it didn't exactly go the way I had planned, but you know, that happens sometimes. Sometimes things don't always go the way you plan, so you improvise and you make the best of it because you don't want to throw away any resin. So I was able to get 2 pieces that we can turn today out of that adventure that I learned from. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're still doing spin gems, but since I got red, white, and blue already, the other colors that I want to do, and I know I brought them out here, or otherwise I'm a fool, because I brought them out, I swear I did. We're going fluorescent today. And what in the world did I do with my colors? Could I be that silly and have not brought them out here in my, oh, what, I've lost my mind. This is embarrassing. So, you know, when you do something silly and you need to own it, there's the 3 colors I was just looking for. I was looking further out on the table. I raised my hand to that one. I own it. So, I have pink, and I'm going to go to the overhead camera, pink, green, and yellow fluorescent. And now that camera, I can't stand the way the light does on that camera. All right, pink, green, and yellow fluorescent spin gems. So we're going to make kind of a cotton candy looking multicolor bowl today. And we're going to add, of course, some of this iridescent glitter that I've been playing with. So that's where we're going today. So first things first, how do we mix this, right? Well, I know from yesterday's experience that I'm going to make a full batch. I'm going to commit to all 3 of these jars. Now, yesterday, I split the jars in half. I used my digital scale, and I weighed them out to be sure how much I had for a repeatability issue. Today, I'm just going to go ahead and use the full jars. They're 4 fluid ounce jars. And I'm going to take, and I'm going to show you how I did this. And this works quite well. It's real simple. These are left over from yesterday. And you got any questions, you guys, you fire up in there and ask me. And let me know. I'm dumping in 1 whole jar. Let me see. I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the overhead. 1 jar of green. It's going to be a confetti looking kind of thing, I hope. And speaking of confetti, that's a whole nother project I've got. I've got some confetti. This is the yellow going in. I've got some confetti, colored confetti that is plastic that will go into a project. Another project down the road. Now, what I do to mix, I just start pouring this from one container to another. And then I'm going to add the glitter in here in a minute. And I found this to be the easiest way to mix this ratio up and just get a good blend over time. Back and forth and back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add my glitter and watch the fan around me blow it all over the place. Hopefully it won't. I love this glitter. It's real fine. I'm putting lots in there because I really want this thing to be sparkly. I mean, we're using fluorescent colors, so we might as well be sparkly, right? And now I will gently, there we go, pour that over the first time. And when I mix the resin today, I'm going to mix 2 batches and have it in separate containers just so I can control, oops, spilled a little bit, just so I can control how much is going on and so that I don't have it getting too hot. That was one of the things with the heat, and I'm out here in the AC, but this room is not insulated yet, so it's not 72 degrees in here like I wish it was. So I'm going to make up 2 batches, 2 identical batches, and then we will mix our spin gems accordingly and fill our mold. So I'm getting pretty close to what looks like a good mix here. All right, and I'm happy with that. I'm just going to set this off to the side now. Now the mold that we're going to use. So here's a mold that I came up with yesterday. This is my molding idea. This is your classic homemade version of how do we do this. So we're making a bowl, right? Well, resin is not outrageously expensive, but it's not super cheap either. So we don't, if we're going to make a bowl, one of the most important things is we don't need to fill this area just to throw it away. All right? They haven't made a coring tool that I'm aware of really yet for resin. So why fill this, right? So if I use what I refer to as a bowl in a bowl method to make this pour. And I've got, this is classic, like I say, homemade, but it actually functions pretty well. These are shish kebab skewers. And in true form for me, we just got a Dollar Tree in Metter, which for these kind of projects is my #1 store because everything's $1. So these are just some cheap plastic bowls. And excuse me, they're still slippery from yesterday's mold release, but I'll place some more under. So with my 2 different sizes of bowls, when I place my piece on there, and it doesn't have to be perfect, we're just trying to keep from wasting a ton of resin. It elevates, and I'm going to go to the overhead camera here for you so you can see, and we can center that in the piece, and you can see sideways. See how I get the displacement? So theoretically, I have plenty of material on all sides plus the bottom. So you can see here I have probably 7/8 of an inch worth of thickness at the bottom, so I can make my tenon or my mortise, whichever I'm going to do down here on the bottom. So it works out quite well. I'll show this to you from the side camera as well, so you can see how that works. All right. So it displaces it, and we don't have to use excess resin. All right. Which is a good thing. Saving money is always a good thing. Now, the next problem we run into is that this bowl is going to want to float, all right? So if this guy floats, well, then it doesn't work. So yesterday, I said, well, I'll take some of my gardening pebbles, and yesterday I didn't have them in a bag. So today I've put them in a bag, and I'm going to put them, I got to pull one of my skewers out, because I don't think I can get the bag through the hole. I realized this after the fact. if I can get past the resin, because I don't think I can sneak this in there. You just don't want to be if you had an accident, you wouldn't want to end up with the stones accidentally in your resin. That would be a bad thing. My sticks don't want to come out. Let me see if I can get that. No, it's not going to go by. I'm going to have to pull the sticks out one way or the other. It's going to take a little bit of work, but there we go. I really do like making things. Commercially made molds are great. I got no problem with commercially made molds, but sometimes when you just need something kind of simple, well, do it yourself. It's the American way. This is Independence Day week. So be independent, come up with your own ideas. Try not to get too much resin on your skewers. And this bowl is so flexible, that it doesn't hurt. There we go. So this is our weight. And maybe I got more in there now than I had yesterday. I may take a little bit of that out. I dropped one of my sticks. May take a little bit of that out. You can see what happens when you get a little bit of resin on there. I had a little sticking issue. I glued stones together with the resin. Not so good. All right. So maybe we don't need quite so much in there. We're going to get this to lay down below the top line. And I think that'll probably do the trick now. So if you've got any kind of questions, well, let me know. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this. We'll get this poured up, and then we'll start turning. But this is a real simple way to do this, because playing with resin, it's always an experiment. Not always an experiment, but you find lots of ways to do things yourself, because it's a different medium, and it hasn't been, I shouldn't say it hasn't been around for a long time, but the creative aspect, people have been using resin forever and ever in modern times. But the kind of art projects that we're making now these days, that maybe hasn't been, what you're trying to do hasn't been broached yet. Nobody's tried to go there. Okay? So now my cup is nicely weighted so it won't float. It'll sit right on top of my mold. And there we go, in overhead. Sits right there. Not a problem. Be all good. All right. You can see we're there. So it's a great way to save resin. Okay? So we're going to set this off to the side. It's time to make a little resin. And like I said, I'm going to make, let me spray these one more time. Lorianne, good morning. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to hit both of these with some more mold release real quick. These popped right out this morning or yesterday very easily. So I had no problem with that whatsoever. And again, these bowls, it was in different packages from our good old Dollar Tree. It's $1 a piece. They're disposable, but heck, I'm getting to use them again. All right, time to put on the gloves. I'm trying to be good and wear my gloves more often these days, guys. We lead by example. I don't like them per se, but I will wear them. And we're going to mix up our resin in 2 different batches just so we have control over it. We don't have too much thermal mass in one spot, because it's probably 80 degrees in here, something like that. So we'll make 2 separate batches. Then we'll mix our spin gems. Now here's one of the real keys to making the spin gem mix, is think of it as mixing concrete. You can make it at any ratio you want. You can use 50-50, 50% resin and 50% of the spin gems of the material. And you'll have gaps and spaces in between for a certain look. For this, I like to think of it as making concrete, because their specific gravity is heavier than the resin, and they're going to want to sink. So if we go ahead and basically fill it with the material and we have resin all in between, we're not going to get the sinkage. All right, so it's going to look the same way when it comes out of the pressure pot. So when we put it in, we hope, with fingers crossed. So I've done it a lot with the smaller batches, with smaller things and like to the egg molds and all, and it works out well. So I basically mix it up into a real thick slurry and pour it in, and it works well. So that's what we're going to go with today. So in my usual fashion, because this is works for me, with my yogurt cups. I'm not putting lacquer thinner in them today, if you were here for that fiasco. My resin is 2 to 1. These are all the yogurt cups that we have yogurt every day around here. I will make 2 batches. 3 of these cups will go into one. This is great because here's another cottage cheese, right? 3 of these, 1 of these. Real simple. I'm not buying measured, metered cups. You can. I have them. They're $1.29 a piece. Byproduct of trying to eat healthy. How can you go wrong? So they say. All right. So I'll make 2 separate batches of this good stuff. And again, that overhead camera, one of these days I'm going to fix that before I get out here. The color gets weird on it. So this will be 1 resin hardener. And I go right to the line. And 2 resins. Now, if I have extra, I've got plenty of stuff in here that I'll just pour up another mold, another piece. I'll make another mold, throw some stuff in it, and have another turning blank for a project. Because you find you don't want to come up short, okay? All right, and then we'll get this one going. And I'll pour in my hardener first. Get that one out of the way. Got to have a stir sticks. Buy them by the box of 1,000. I need to find another box of bigger ones. These are small, which they work all right, but I'd like some bigger ones with flat ends. It'd be easier to get down into the corners. So I'm scraping down the walls real good. Now I'll use these same cups, measuring cups, for the second batch as well, and I'll just do the exact same things in them. Again, the reason I'm doing it in 2 separate things, I'm trying to keep the mass to a lower. I wasn't even in the overhead. Sorry about that. I'll show you here. Change. There we go. Trying to keep the mass to a lower portion, so it doesn't overheat too fast. Because it is going to be warm. These will go into the pressure pot, or California air pressure pot, and I'll pump them up to 70 pounds. It's amazing because it was so hot yesterday. The resin, is typically 2-hour open time and 24 hours to cure. I had these out of the mold in 4 hours, and they popped right out. They set up so fast. Okay, so I'm going to set this right here, and I'm going to do my stir. Now, here's my favorite kind of stir, right? And you can see that I get a lot of mileage out of my stirs. All right. This is another Dollar Tree item over in the kitchenware. It's made out of plastic. It's a whisk. Works great. Gives me good mixing. I really like them. Again, they cost $1, so when I finally use it up, I'll be all good. Lorianne, you're going to do some resin on weekend at campsite. That's bold. Let's see. I'll show you just the simple mixing going on here. This is not rocket science, but you do want to mix it really well. Okay? The best way to know that this mixed super well, and I may do this, is once you mix it in one container and you scrape the sides and done all your mixing, you pour it into a second container and mix again, so that you're not having any chance of any spots that are not mixed. All right. Now the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add some black resin tint to this. I want a little bit of color. Now in the red, white, and blue ones, I put it in there, and again, because of the iridescent glitter, it needs a little bit of color to bounce off of. You can't really see the black in this, in the resin. There's just a little bit, just kind of a smoky gray almost in that. Well, with our cotton candy colors here today, the black resin would be a great contrast, I think. So we're going to darken the resin up. We won't do that just yet. I'll get both of these mixed. So let's make another batch. And then we'll get to turning here after we get this mixed, and then we'll get it all over in the mold and all that good stuff. And find somewhere to lay this stick for a minute. There we go. Back to that. I hope everybody's week is off to a good start. I know mine is. Like I say, I'm having fun. It hasn't made it to 100 yet, so I'm happy. It's not super hot. And again, if I have resin left over, I'm not worried, because I will mix up something else. I'll pour it into another mold and throw some color at it, some swirls, who knows what. And we'll have, you know, another piece. I've always want to have pieces on hand when the woodworking shows start back up, or any other kind of symposium that we go out to. It's always handy to already have something poured up, cured up, and ready to turn. Always have something on hand. All right, and I get myself another clean cup here. Pour in my catalyst. Throw that one away now. Go back to overhead where I can talk to you. Get these scraped out. So the turning today, when we start turning on these pieces, we'll be using the Easy Wood tools with the carbide cutters. The carbide cutters work fantastic on resin. They really do. And especially once we add this polyester polymer in, it's quite hard. It's not hard as, you know, real stone, but Zach and I were talking the other day when we were talking about getting ready for Wednesday's anniversary event, just how hard it was, how much harder it is on the tools. And so the carbide, you know, handles it great. That's what you want to be using. Or spend a lot of time going to the sharpener with your conventional tools if you need to. Get this guy scraped out. Is there anybody hanging with me today that's using the spin gems at all? Has worked with them? If so, I'd be love to hear. I got an email just before I went online. So somebody wanted to know, you know, when could they buy them in bulk, you know, by the pound? And they are coming by the pound. When I was over at Chroma Craft last week, we were talking about and working on the packaging for larger quantities, so folks can get it in bulk. So that is coming. For those who use it, you know, use a lot of material. Okay. Then we'll give this guy its good stir, get it going, and all the good stuff. I'll show you that stir in again. Go back to the overhead. Not that it's rocket science, but you do want to get it right. Interesting how when you put your hand around it, it looks so much darker, but it's exactly the same. Now, what I was talking about in doing a dual pour over to a second container, If you really want to be sure, and since I happen to have extra containers here, I brought four of them in today. So if you really want to be sure, and I'm going to let that first one sit there for just a minute. I'm going to pour this one into a fresh container. All right. Scrape it down. But just in case I had some kind of pocket or something, that's the best way that I can be sure. Now that'll set up, and I'll be able to peel it out and reuse these again. You know, it's kind of nice to be able to reuse the free stuff even over and over and over. So that guy is ready to go. I'm going to pour this guy over. I'm right-handed, so see if I can do this without making a mess. You notice I have my white cardboard over top of the lathe. I didn't want to move the overheads over to the tabletop today, just because I'd have to move them right back. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of the black, and when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. And I've got the resin tint, Chroma resin tint. Always shake your tints up. Make sure your tint is well mixed, well stirred. Okay. Now when I say a little bit, because I just want, this one I might do a little bit more, but the black is so strong, it doesn't take much, okay? So I'm going to put two drops. And watch and see how much 2 drops of black affects that. So that's just kind of it looks darker to you. It's still translucent. Okay? Doesn't take very much. And that's going to help our glitter, our iridescent glitter, have something to reflect or refract off of. Okay, and two drops into there, so equal amounts. Those are approximate drops, but they're pretty close. All right. All right, so we're feeling pretty well mixed there. We're comfortable with that. Now, here's our first mold. I'm going to take 1 more cup now. All right. And I'm going to pour it in, and I'm going to do this slowly. Slowly. I like that. Spin gems into the cup. I don't know if you can see the glitter blowing it away or not. And I'm going to mix what I'm going to consider to be the bottom batch, or the bottom of the bowl. So I'm going to go overhead for you and show you how I'm going to make this into, and I'm going to pour it with this, but I'm going to use the stir stick. I don't put a lot of resin in, okay? And I'm after this concrete slurry. I want it to be pourable. I want to be sure that all of the granules are covered, that it's well mixed. I need a little bit more in there. And then I want to see the resin available there, but I want it pretty thick, because I really want the stones to be sitting on themselves. Okay? So that gives you an idea. You can see the resin mix, but you can see, if you've ever worked with concrete, I feel sorry for you, because I used to have to do concrete. Not a lot, but some. So that's the kind of consistency we're looking for, all right? And sometimes I might even make it a little bit drier than that. But there we go. So here's our bowl. This is our first drop into the container, into the pot, into the bowl, into the mold. You can see it doesn't just come running out. And we'll scrape this out. And again, you want this to be as thick. Get down here in the corners. I had some that didn't get wet. You want it to be as thick as it can be with still having resin touching all of it so that it has its structural integrity. All right. So we'll dump that out. And we're going to keep using that same one over and over. So I'm going to make sure that's well mixed. Now the next thing I do, because I may or may not be ready to leave the piece in, I take my bowl and I'm going to go from the side camera here, and I drop it in and see if you can see this. I don't know if that'll work or not. You can see, you can't quite see. I'm trying to find an angle. The spin gems are not quite up to the bottom of the bowl. And maybe I'll just go in the front. So the bottom of our inner bowl is not quite touching the gems. All right. I want to make sure that I'm dropping down in there, because then I'm just going to pour around it. So I'm going to take this back out. You can see there's nothing touched the bottom yet. Okay. Now I'm going to make another batch. So I'll pour in another dose of gems. Not a lot. Pour in another dose of resin. Again, not a lot. Give it a good mix. That batch is obviously a little too dry still. It's a little bit more. If you did this over and over, you would have your ratios down, but since it's a kind of a one-off, you know, I haven't done it over and over and over to where I have a perfect ratio all the time and know exactly what I'm going to need. If I was doing these all the time, I would know how many ounces of resin I needed to get the consistency to how much spin gem product. Because the last thing you want is for it to have a dry spot. Because when you have a dry spot and you go turn, once you start turning that, you're going to get in there and the thing's going to come apart. You're going to have a void in it and a hole and all that good stuff. And that would not be good. Now what you'll see as you watch in the bowl here, it'll look kind of dingy. What happens is once we turn it, and you'll see it in the others too, once we turn it and we cut through and open up the faces, if you will, or expose facets of the spin gem itself, then all those bright colors will pop again. So don't be discouraged if you start working with these and you think, oh, it looks all dull. It's not doing what I want. Once you turn it and polish it, you will be super happy. Okay, making sure that's all well mixed. Now that should take care of that. So now when I drop that in, I get displacement. I saw it start to push up the spin gems. I want to make my bowl as round as I can, so let me go to the overhead. And you know, you can try and get it all positioned perfect right now, but you can move it around once it's in there. So one thing you may notice here is that I have cut the rim off of this bowl, this inner bowl. It had a rim like the outer one. I've cut that off so that I can actually pour in around the inner displacement mold. Okay? All right. So I'm going with the rest of the spin gems right into the container, and we're going to commit to that. And begin to mix. I'll set this over, slide this over. So the question is, what happens if you come up short and you don't have any more spin gems? Well, if I do, then I'll do like I did yesterday. You can see me mixing here on the side. I would add a color to the top, or I might just make some black really dark and make a black rim and let it drip down in there. Okay. That, and I made this a little bit more pourable, just a little bit more fluid, because I'm now going to pour it down through that open cavity, all right, around and around. So here we go. We'll start to pour this down in, and it will work its way around, and I'll spin it around as I go also. We'll go ahead and spin it to help it. I'm on the overhead, yes. There we go. So that's key, is having it just enough slurry or slope in concrete terms. If there's any concrete workers out there, you know it's referred to as slope. Do not ask me what the slope of this mix here today is, but this is going to be just about perfect for filling up my piece. I'm going to have just about the right amount, and I'm going to fill this thing all the way to the top. And again, if it looks a little dingy, remember when we cut into the spin gems, once it's all cured, you're going to see the brightness of the spin gems get accentuated. All right. So that's pretty much full. Okay, and we got plenty of resin. So I'm going to be making up another little project here since we're here today. So let me go to the front camera and see if you can see. This guy is now completely full. And if I do it on I'm trying to think without spilling it here. I'll show you on the side camera. Which I can't tip it. I can't tilt it. I wish I could tilt it. Doesn't have a lid on it. I'll have to work on how to put a lid on them. I'll come up close here. You can see that we are pretty much full. All right. Now again, if you wanted to play, if I wanted to wait, and let's say I wanted to make a decorative color rim on the top. Let's say I wanted a black rim, a red rim, whatever, green, blue, orange, yellow, doesn't matter. I could wait till these resins start to really cook and set up. I don't know what the temperatures are. Let's see if I don't know where my little infrared is at. So I'm not going to worry about it today. I could pour so that they wouldn't merge. I would wait till they were starting to thermoset. And I would have that that color wouldn't sink in, and so I would be all good there. Okay, so I'm going to let that guy just sit there just like that. I'm going to go ahead and go to, hey, Jeff's in here, and Larry's in. Good morning, guys. What you doing? You just finished mowing. I feel for you, Jeff. Nice to have you back, Larry. Hope you're doing well. I had a couple of days off for those same kind of things last week. All is good. All right, so I'm going to change the camera here so I can go over to the pressure pot and not have to walk that's right where the pressure pot is right in front of everything. So I'm just going to go to the overhead for a minute just to get out of the way. And I'm going to carry this guy off and set him over here in the pressure pot. And then I'm going to come up with another something. I think I want to make a plate or a platter, if you will. So I'm looking at my pressure pot. I had a spill in here recently, and I've got some extra resin in it. But I want to make a thin pour, and I'm double checking a couple of things. And I think this is going to work since I've got plenty of resin. All right, so big bowl, because I want to make a plate. I want to make a resin plate. All right, I grabbed a, whatever this is, 5 quart, 4 quart, 1 gallon bucket, and throw some mold release on it. This will go into the pot along with the other piece. Now this won't be very thick. Don't breathe that. All right, won't be very thick, but that's okay. And we're going to take all of our resin that we have left, and we're going right in here with it. Plates are, I've made 1 or 2. I started playing with the idea, and they're actually quite difficult because of flex that you get in the resin itself once it's cured, because it's not very thick. So it's one of my projects that I want to figure out how to turn these pieces that are already pretty thin and deal with the flex. All right. So this will be thick enough that when it comes out, that I'll be able to have a tenon. I can make a tenon or a recess on the bottom, whichever, and that'll work. Now I think I've got a little bit of, I'm just going to make a potpourri here, if you will, of things, because I have that tint of black smoke in there, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and I've already got this batch mixed up right here. They'll be on the very bottom, if I don't spill it all over the table. Now these spin gems, we're going to clean this out. As best we can. Give you an overhead of what's going on here. So, I mean, never waste. You know, always have another something around that you can work with. Now these spin gems, I know for a fact they're going to sink to the bottom of this. I mean, that's just a given. It's the way it is, because their specific gravity is heavier than the resin. But I've got this glitter. Maybe I just make a glitter bowl, right? And I'm gonna look over here in my drawer. I'm gonna find a couple of more things, fun things. When I just so happen, oh, this is my day. This is my lucky day. If I just have my scissors, we get to do another something. Did I bring my scissors over here? If not, I'll run next door and get them. We're going to use the iridescent film, which needs the black. There's my scissors. It's another product that Spirocraft will be putting in the store pretty soon. Let's see what happens when I go across here. So now you'll be able to see that. This is an iridescent film, green. This one is green and purple. Color shift film, if you will. If you remember that hollow form that I did with it, it had a cool look to it. Looks like I ran out of record space on my computer. Okay, so I was recording this and I guess I filled the hard drive. This is the film. No, don't do that. This is the film that we've got with Chroma. I don't know what happens when I go up against the green screen with it. And there's a variety of colors. Iridescent film, you can see through it, but with the black it bounces off of. So what we're going to do is we're going to just cut this into chunks, basically, and we're going to cut it into little, like origami, but not that fancy. I'm going to fold this up a bunch and cut it into little teeny pieces. All right, because these little pieces will mix in, float around, and give us reflections and refractions and all that good stuff. So I'm going to fold this over quite a bit, and then I'm just going to start cutting little teeny pieces of this very randomly Let me go overhead. First time I have, this is one that we've been talking about when I go over to Chromacraft. They said, Bradley, have you tried doing this with it yet? And I said, no, but it's on the list. So I'm just cutting these up into little teeny pieces, and you can see how when that hit that, as soon as it hits against that black, it turns green. This stuff is just cool as all get out. All right, so I'm just cutting this up into little shards, little shreds. Now this, I don't know the specific gravity, if it's going to be heavy or not. I don't think it is in the pieces I've done before. I've done 2 pieces with it. It did not sink. Okay. So this is going to be kind of cool. And again, I mean, half of what I do is an experiment because that's just who I am, and I like to do things that way. Hey, Mary Alice, good to see you. Did your package come in? I didn't check your tracking number. I hope you liked your little extra goodie in there, or goodies. I got your order this weekend. I'll get that out today. It should go out today. Get that to you. So you're going to like what we're doing right now, Mary Alice, with the iridescent film. I'm chopping this up into these little shards, then mixing it in with the excess leftover resin from earlier from our spin gem pour. We're just chopping this up. I folded it over a bunch, and you can see what's going on into the bowl. Nobody else has this. You can get this from Spiracraft. Just as soon as I get it on the website, send me an email demanding it, and I'll forward it to Chromacraft and say I gotta have it, and I gotta have it now. When I was over the other day with the owner, and he turned to one of his right-hand people and said, "Get Bradley his film." So it's coming very, very soon. All right. And again, the smaller the pieces, the more facets I have in here, the mix, the better off the effect is going to be. I do believe it's what I've seen in the past. Getting down to the small stuff here. Okay. Now, we mix that in. Hopefully it doesn't stick to my stick too much. My mixer. Okay, that's an interesting look. Now I think I'm going to throw some color at it. I'm going to add, if I can find some, if I have some yellow here handy. I've got some turquoise. I may throw some turquoise in there. There's some yellow. Now, because I have the black in there, the smoky black, these won't be bright colors. It might be a little bit muddy. Make sure that's well shaken. There's some yellow. This is turquoise I'll put in next. And since we're having a potpourri day, I'll put in some white, which will really just kind of go to a gray, but that's okay. And I'm just going to kind of give this a light swirl, just enough to get the pigments mixed in with the resin. Any other color? I'm looking through my drawer over here, my infamous drawer that you guys hear me talk about all the time. See if I got anything else handy real quick, like for colors to throw at it that might be good. And well, we've got a red, so let's throw a red at it. Just a tick of red. It'll be interesting. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of my iridescent glitter to this. If I didn't use it all up. I may have used it all up. I think I did. I think I may have thrown it all in the... May have thrown it all in the last batch. If so, I may have, you know what I can throw in here? I forgot all about this. Let's do, I know, my famous drawer over here that you guys don't get to see has so many things in it, so many goodies that make life exciting in my little world. One of my favorites, iridescent gold pearlescent powder. All right, powder is white, but it's an iridescent gold. All right, there we go with that. Now I'm going to take my big stick out of here. And put it over here out of the way. I'm taking my little stick. And we're just going to kind of really, I'm just trying to get the powder to the iridescent powder to drop in. Remember, those crazy spin gems are on the bottom. So when I turn this plate and I cut through these layers and these colors, this should be kind of interesting. It's going to be red, obviously, on the top at the moment. And these colors are going to merge together. But we're going to have all kinds of different things in this guy. All right? Plus, we've got our film in there. Okay. So that guy is now going into the pot. This is all going to the pressure pot. I know it kind of looks crazy in there. All right. Well, we're going to pop this in the pressure pot and put it to bed for the next few hours. Make sure everything stays upright. I'd hate to have that fall over. That happened to me once before. So I'm out of the line here, out of sight there, but I'm putting my pressure pot lid on. My studio here is not big enough to have everything in sight all the time. I'm actually in a building that I built in North Georgia. This studio is 14 by 16, and I built it in modular panels when I built it, 4 by 8 panels, just like a sheet of plywood. Assembled it and worked in it and turned there when we were up in Ringgold, Georgia, and I was doing the art and craft shows. And when Bridget and I got married and we moved down here to Metter, I completely disassembled the building, had the moving company put it in the moving truck, which they thought I was insane. Wall panels, floor joists, rafters, the whole bit. And I had them load it and move it down here, and then I reassembled it with a different roof line and turned it into my film studio. And it's worked out great. I could always use more space. I don't know who couldn't use more space. And I've just about got my piece on here, my clamps tight. And we'll open all our valves up. And then we'll get to turning here, because that's our next thing. Okay, good deal. All right, I'm back. I was just right over there. Let's get all this resin stuff out of the way, and let's do some turning. What do you think? Save all my cups, because this stuff will be usable. Good thing those are work scissors. Get this off of here. We'll just put that under there for now. All these goodies out of the way. So here's a little piece. I don't know if it'll come out or not. I poured yesterday when I had that excess resin. This is another piece of some kind of a tall little glass I got at Dollar Tree, and I just had that much resin left over, and it's got it's got feathers that I found in here, and I don't know if this will pop out of here real easy or not. There we go. Cool beans. So this has got feathers in it. I found a supply of these feathers, and there's turquoise and blue and pink feathers inside and black inside this yellow. So we'll turn that into a little bottle stopper or something like that. Who knows what it'll look like. Always have something around for your extra resin, all right? Disposable mold. I think there were like 6 of them for $1 in the bag from good old Dollar Tree. All right. All right, we're out of that stuff. Resin's away. How's everybody doing? Let's get these gloves off of me. Hands are all sweaty. Cool beans. Let's do some resin turning. Excuse me, what am I talking about? Let's do some resin turning. I'm ready to make a mess. How's my time doing? 11:11. My watch went out on me. My Fitbit watch went out last night and tells me that it says go to fitbit.com, and that's it. It won't do anything. It won't work. Of course, I shouldn't be wearing my watch when I'm turning anyway, and I have been good about taking it off. But I can look at one of the monitors around here and see what time it is. So that's all good. All right. So I wonder which one I should turn first. Turn the solid one or turn the bowl? I kind of want to turn the bowl first. What do you guys think? Anybody throw up an idea? Should I turn the bowl or should I turn on this? Because I've probably 45 minutes. I've probably only got time to do one bowl or solid piece. And I'll go here, turn the bowl, turn the solid piece. Now, one thing you'll see on this bowl, I didn't talk about my inner cup yesterday, slid over to one side, and I have one wall that's thin and one wall that's thick. Hopefully it's not going to be an issue. That's enough for my wall thickness on the thin portion, because the bottom of my pot isn't flat. So that is something you need to be aware of, and I hopefully I got it flat in there today. Michael says the bowl. Lorianne says the bowl. 2 for the bowl. I think I know where this is going. And I'm in your camp. I'm with you. I'm in the bowl camp too myself. All right. So we need to put on our bowl jaws. I'm going to stab myself with that if I'm not careful. This tool. How do my other camera angles look? Looks like the overhead will adjust as we need to. Get them where they need to be. Larry says the bowl. Bowl it is, gang. We're going with the bowl. And I'm in the overhead, so let me do that. We'll go with the bowl. It's the bowl, boss. It's the bowl. I'm having fun today. Even if I'm a little warm. I'm coming back. 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 I'll be with you just in a moment. We had a power outage, tripping. Power went out. Power went out. Too many things running in one little spot. All right. We should be back. Now that I think I have everything turned back on. Is everything back to copacetic now? Is things back to normal? We'll see here in a second. Ba-bum-bum. Hopefully you can hear me. Let's see if we're back. There we go. I think I'm getting there. Yike! Mary Alice. Looks like I'm back. Somebody let me know if you are getting me back now. Since I'm here, I have things back on. How about that? Let's see. Am I back out there to you? I hope so. I had a strip overload, power strip overload. Funny how that happens. Just background, okay? Just background, but no me. Let's see. That should be. Let me look over here at the stream. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Here you can see the background. So you can hear me. Can you see me? I love technology. Electricity. That's all they got to do if they ever want to really shut us down in the world is just turn off our electricity. And we will be out to lunch. So everything should be back now. Gary says, I'm good. Mike says, that does it. Okay. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? And I won't say I didn't break a sweat because I was already sweating anyway. And I was on such a roll about being excited to start turning, and with the compressor running in here and everything else, and the AC going, and the fan going. I just asked a little bit too much of the circuitry, I guess. Speaking of that, I am going to walk over real quick and make sure the air conditioner reset to cool and not eco. So hang on just a second while I change that camera over to that so I can walk in front of this other one. All right, life is good. We will finish pumping that thing up later. And let me get this back up and going. Refresh that screen. All right. Okay. I think we're all good. I think I'm good. Where was I? So I was putting these on. the day the lights went out in Georgia. You got to stay cool and calm under fire, you know? Something goes wrong, well, you just get in there and fix it, deal with it, take care of it. All right, now this is the little guy, and so we can come way on in with this. It looks like that inner second ring. Let me show you here. Let me adjust, you're on that one. Let me adjust this camera now so you can see what's going on, and you won't have to see the camera wiggle. And these are on manuals. Okay. So we're going to adjust this. We're going to adjust the buttons down to catch the piece here. All right. So it looks like our second ring in should do the trick. All right. So that's what we'll do. I'll go back out to the front here so you don't have to watch my hands do that. No matter where I put these guys, they'd always be in the wrong place. It was the compressor, yes, Lorianne. It's the compressor for the pressure pot that broke the camel's back. Not that I have inadequate electricity servicing this particular building, but you know, you can only string so many power strips together in a row. As they say, it's amazing out at the woodworking shows. Fire marshals come around, and there I actually have a great electrical setup. I have all my own electrical power conditioners in my, it looks like a big giant audio rack, but one whole bank of that electronics is power conditioners and power supplies. It takes the native power from the hall and lets me run everything through it and condition it. So my audio stuff doesn't go bad, and it's got great surge suppressors in it. Anyway, the fire marshals will come by, and they look at all the wiring for, you know, when I have the lights and the cameras and all the monitors going, and they can't figure out where in the world, how's this guy do this without a bunch of, you know, 6-hole power strips. It's because there's a big old giant one. Actually, there's 2 of them in that box, 2 different ones that run the system, and everything feeds off of that, and it works great. And it keeps me from getting in trouble with the fire marshal. Too many toys. Henry, I don't know if we can have too many toys. And the reality is what it was is not enough circuits in my studio. And I know just the guy to talk to about that. Okay, so we'll go here to the end, and we're going to open this up just a little bit. Get our piece in here so that we can make a tenon or a recess on it, whichever we want to do. I appreciate you all hanging with me for the temporary outage. These things happen. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So we're just going to snug that up. Now, it may not turn perfectly true. It doesn't really matter as long as we make a perfectly true tenon here, and then when we turn it around, everything will true up to that. If I have a concern at all, and I do, is that this wall thickness, the one area where the wall thickness is so thin, if that is an issue with it, how much it's off center, but it doesn't look like it's off center very much, but it could be just enough to be what broke the system. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change this real quick. I'm going to loosen this back up and see if this will set in here. I've got these little, there's some little bars on here from where I had the skewers in there. That's a little better. Never hurts to take a second look and see if where you got things. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody hanging with me for that temporary outage. Okay, cool beans. Let's see, what are we going to do with this? Well, our calipers are set for 3 inches. We want 2 3/8. I know that's the size I'm going to make. Doesn't that look pretty? I'm looking over in the in the not the replay, but if there's a time delay here of 20 seconds, so I can watch and see what's already happened. That looks really pretty, those colors in there. I can't wait to see this turn. So 2 3/8. I'm going to make it 2 1/2. And first thing I'm going to do is clean up the bottom just a little bit. The other thing I think before I get too far carried away here, I'm going to move the headstock over so that the overhead works for you. And then I'll adjust that camera you're looking at right now. So that'll be your overhead. That's better in the center. And then we'll adjust this one back down. There we go. Now that looks better for you. Everything adjusted up. I'm finally getting to where I remember to put the cameras on manual. The front camera is on auto. The 2 end cameras have to be on manual. Otherwise, they can't handle the image when it's spinning, the item is spinning. All right, let's see what our speed looks like here. Turn this guy on. We're not going to turn over about 800 anyway. So I had a little vibration. It's smoothed out here at about 725. So there's 800. I'm going to stop right there at 800. I'm going to clean up this bottom first, get it flat, true this up on the outside. I'll do it lightly, even though I have a pretty good grip there. That'll take some of the inertia going out of here. So you see the colors that you're seeing on the end there. The overhead is pretty cool too. The iridescent glitter in there is just cool looking, if you ask me. All right. So I'm going to start with, I don't have in there a round negative rate cutter. All right. Get my tool rest at the right height. And we are on the end camera. There we go. That looks all good. And I think we're ready to go. Sound will get a little bit louder with the mask. Hey Corey, how you doing? Now my voice is cracking all of a sudden today. Alrighty. Let's clean this guy up some. Make some big old resin chips. Streamers. Now it'll lose all its shine here for a little while. Now it does turn different because look at the great color of the chips. Probably gets out of focus if I get too close. So we've got all these colored chips in here. I might have to save those and make something else out of that. The spin gems are fairly hard, as I said. There we go. So now you can see, I'll let you see what it looks like when you cut through, as you cut through the spin gems there. The resin gets dull, but the spin gems, you start to see through as you cut through the facets of it, if you will. So I'm going to move my tool rest around and come over here to the side and get in here as close as I can. And I can't get all the way up to the bumpers, but I can get some of this in shape here so that not so much mass that's out around. So let me switch to the overhead for you. And I'll just kind of work my way up and down here, right up to the bumpers. You can see how I've got a fan over there that you can't quite see, but that's what blows the chips right out of the way off to the side. Works quite well. You do not want to hit the bumpers. They're urethane, but it still might knock it out. So you just have to hold up short of doing that. Now granted, again, this is not any kind of fancy shape. Now right in here, the bowl mold had a flat spot in it, okay? And that's what is right there. So we have to turn that away. But hey, for $1 for a 4-pack of molds, it's kind of hard to complain about having a little bit of a flat spot in your bowl mold, if you know what I mean. I think this is a great, Independence Day theme kind of color to work with. Easy to do. I mean, so when you decorate for 4th of July, get you some of these red, white, and blue spin gems. A little bit of iridescent glitter. And you can make some fun things that fit the time, especially bottle stoppers, your wine stoppers. I can see. So if you're drinking wine on the 4th of July, I mean, nothing wrong with that. You got a patriotic bottle stopper to go with it. Okay. Looking pretty good. I still got that little flat right there. So because my wall is so thin, I can turn that off. Because the wall is so thin on the inside, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm at, I'm not going to take any more off of the outside diameter of this than I have to. I just want to get it round while it's here, nice and secure, because again, I don't know what I'm going to come up against when I get to the inside. All right, so I want to err on the side of caution. I'll do whatever I do to the bottom. We'll keep this shape simple for today, but keep that in mind, because my wall is not a uniform thickness on the inside. There's going to be a big difference, so I need to keep that in mind. All right, let's go back to the overhead. A little bit more here. There's plenty of material in the bottom. It's the top that I'm more concerned about. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I think I will actually, and I don't normally, I'm not a recess person, so it's time for me to make a recess. I haven't done, I make a recess, I've done them before. It's just, I'm usually a tendon guy, but I think on this piece, I want to make a recess. So I'm going to reset my calipers. And again, I have to think a little bit harder. Recesses are not a natural progression. I can't do them just off the top of my head, knowing what sizes are going to work and be what I need. And I don't have a set of inside calipers here with me, I don't think. So I'm setting my calipers, give myself a point of reference, and hopefully get that right. I don't think I have a set of inside calipers, I just don't think I have them here. They're probably in my infamous drawer, and you know what that means. It means I have no idea where they are. So taking away the tailstock, I love having my table out front. My table here has kind of become my work table, so instead of having to turn around and go get things, well, I got a quick place. I got my tool racks are right over here, which is just out of shot. But I can lay things that I'm using a lot right out here on front of my machine, and keeps it super handy. When I need a tool, I can run over here and grab whatever I need. And I'm going to need... I need a negative rake square, or radius at least, and a negative rake detail. So I'm in the micros, the minis. Okay, I think I'm set. So I like having my tool table right out here. It looks like I need to raise for the minis. I need to raise my tool rest up just a little teeny bit. All right, and there's the center. Do I have a, yeah, and I have a round. Oh, that one's broken. That's no good. Let's, well, we can use the round one to start. I'm talking to myself. Okay, let's go back in here to the end camera. Yes, Michael, I think if I remember to, we will recast these shavings. They'd be kind of cool to put in with the new water clear. I don't know if you guys saw a week or two ago. I posted a piece that had looked all those turquoise and red and black, and it was crystal clear. Looked like feathers in it. That's the new water clear resin we're working on at Chroma. It's coming one of these days. Been working on it for a while now. They really want to get it right. We're getting close. All right, so I'm going to take, that's too big. Where am I going here anyway? I can't, I got to make a tenon. I got to make a small tenon. I got to regroup completely here. Hang on, gang. I'm so used to using the bigger ones. We're going smaller. You regroup here real quick. See what happens when I do small stuff? So I'm going down to the 1 3/8 jaws. Okay, reset my caliper because that just was not going to work. That wasn't going to work at all. Give myself a little latitude, and even then this piece is pretty small. Okay, alright, so here's how I'm going to go about this. So it looks like right about there. I just like to make a mark. I'm sorry for putting my head in the way. So that tells me that's where my recess needs to be. It could actually be smaller than that. Oh, sorry, got my head in there again. I changed that camera angle around the other day. Let's try that again. Because this is one I kind of only get to get it once. Okay, I'm happier with that. So there's, again, admittedly I don't do recesses a lot. And my number ones or CI5s are not in negative rake format right now. fun to try something different. Again, let me make sure I'm staying in the right realm of things here. Because if I don't make it big enough, they won't go in. And I get a lot of vibration because I'm in the bowl jaws there, the jumbo jaws. So I'm using the detail tool to cut that wall, and I need a little dovetail on that wall as well. Okay. And I am, just because it is not normal ground for me, I'm double checking a few things here, make sure that I'm in the right mode. Because I'm not going to take all of this away. Again, if there's something you're not sure about, double check, okay? It doesn't hurt, it takes another minute or two. I want to make sure that I have the clearance that I need, and I do. Because once you are committed, you're committed. Because if I turn this around and put it back on, I'll never get it back where it was. Okay. $7:43. Coming up on noon, but we got time. We'll have this guy turn and we'll throw a coat of, we'll polish her up. We might be 12:15, but that's nothing new for me. I'm having a ball out here today. Back to my square so I can just kind of cut some of this down in here, flatter. Alright, a little bit more. And I can tell I want some more dovetail on my jaws as well. Like I said, I know I have plenty of material in the bottom, so I'm not concerned about that. Okay. So even the recess is pretty on this guy. As you can't see the delineation in the camera there. So I'm going to dovetail my side just a little bit more. Now the one thing I say, like, you know, I'm not super familiar with making these, so I need to get that down. There we go. Here, a little bit more in there. I'm just about happy. I'm just about happy. As you EasyWood fans know, I would be happier if I had my #1 hollower with a CI5 and negative rake on here, but I didn't want to take the time to go change one. Okay. Good deal. Let's take this guy out, get a breath of fresh air, get her turned around. Hopefully we don't run out of wall thickness. Like I said, if I show you in the overhead, you'll see there's my concern right there. I'm really thick over here, but as long as the outside is pretty close, and I think it is. I mean, this is going to be not a whole lot left when we're done with that. There's our bottom recess, as you can see there. Hey, look at that coming up on the screen. That's because it's a computer running this. Go away. Ever since the power went out. Go away. I should be running that background on a media player, but I'm not. Pop back up to here. Don't you love it when software pops up on your background? It's always something, but we have fun. Roll with the punches. Today's definitely one of those roll with the punches kind of days. Now this is going to be crazy turning this thing. It's going to go a lot of thumpity thumpity thump when we do the inside here. So what I'll do, I don't know if Donald's in here today or not, Donald Doyle, if he's around. Donald, if you're in here, we're using one of your rubber chuckies again here today. My friend. Y'all pray that Bradley got this right. Okay, so when I look down, we're in the overhead here. I don't know if you can see down in there. My jaw gap is it is less than this tool. So I have a perfect circle. That was my goal, was a perfect circle in my jaws of expanding. When my jaws expanded out to hold the piece, I wanted that perfect circle. I wanted contact all the way around. Very, very light, thin gap in there, so I'm quite pleased with that, considering I don't do those very often. That makes a happy day for me, if you know what I mean. Now, let's get our tailstock back up here. Out of curiosity, let's see what this looks like. So, I'm going to show you this. You can see it easier in wood. I can look and see that where the ghost image ends. So I'm going to have a wall of, what is that? Is my head in the way? Not. Hope not. The wall is way back out here. Use this guy. The edge of my bowl, inside edge, is right where that tool is. Okay? Right in there. So we do have enough. That's one thing you always do, check, is make sure that you have enough before you get too far along. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting your time. All right? So, tailstock. Tailstock is up. Chucky cone. That one is too big. This one looks just right. These guys are so handy. These are urethane cones. Show you in the overhead. Urethane cone. It goes right on the end of your. Give a plug out to Mr. Donald Doyle, rubber chuckies. Goes right on your threads, right on your live center. And that gives me something to safely keep this in line while I'm kind of getting it trued up, and I'll start in on this inside wall right there. I'll start in on the inside wall. That's inside. It's out of the way. First step is to flatten up this face here, and then we'll double check everything again. Doug Dixon, how are you, sir? What was that crazy email you sent this morning? None of it would open. Actually, I finally found one of the links that did open. I hope you're doing well. Are they making you stay back home now in Houston? I saw they were talking about Houston on the news this morning there, Doug, and they're like, you can't go out to the restaurant and the bar anymore. What are you going to do, buddy? That's no good. Doug, I hope you guys did Easywood Tools. If any of you don't know Mr. Dixon, Doug Dixon, who just popped in here, is the sales manager for Easywood Tools. He's a great guy. They had an event, a virtual makers fair this weekend. I hope it went well for you guys. We're having our anniversary this week. I have to give you guys a holler, see if anybody's available to come join us. Okay, I'm going to clean up this face right here now. I'm going to actually turn that a little bit of an angle. I'm going to go in here with my finisher, my round cutter, my CI3 negative rake, clean up that top lip, and then we'll kind of start to see where we're at. And we can get some more speed now. Get things all snugged up. That urethane compresses quite a bit. We'll snug that guy up. That'll take her up to about $1,000, about 1,000 RPM. And I'm just going to come across here. I'm on the right camera. Clean that face up. It's going to be real bouncy on the inside. Now I'm going to come around back out here and clean up the side. But I'll go ahead and take care of this top first. So I don't dare take any more off the outside of this than I have to because of my wall thickness or lack thereof when we get right over here, and we haven't quite cut down to that, so I'm going to go a little bit further. You kind of have to take your time a little bit. Make sure that you don't overcut. Now theoretically, if I was to continue to drop the rim of this bowl, theoretically it would get thicker, but it doesn't. It's actually thicker at the top. This whole wall, as I'm feeling down in here, I should show you with the, I don't have much to work with. I'll show you. Let me turn the outside here real quick, and then I'll show you what I got to work with. It's not a lot, so I'm going to have to be careful. All right? So I'm going to go to overhead, and all I want to do is get this trued up, because there's not a lot of extra. So we won't be doing any fancy rim decoration, rim curves or anything on this today. Here, of course, is the beauty of turning resin. You get to have this stuff all over you, and then you pull the strings off. Always good fun. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. Alright, so we're all the way around there. So we're going to leave that alone. Because I want to come back over here now and see just what my wall thickness is going to be. Get off of me, string. I'm going to come in here with my tool, change my tool rest around, and I'm going to find that wall thickness. I'll show you here if I can do this. So that's what I'm starting with, which if we get a tape measure out, is not a whole lot. We have just over a 1/4 inch, about 5/16. So we have a 5/16 wall right here. And that's all we have. So we can't afford to take anything else off. Now over here, we've got a 1/2 inch. All because, and this is all because the mold leaned over just a little bit in the pressure pot. And so all the material flowed to one side probably before it finished setting up. So make sure your pressure pot is flat and all that good stuff. So here, that's where we are. That's our inside. Let's get this worked out here. I'm going to take my little detail, my micro, and I'm going to make a line on the rest of this so I can see, have a reference point so I'm not overcutting. So where am I at here? Let me go to end cut for you, end shot. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to basically mark this, the rest of this bowl, where that thickness is. Is that what you're seeing? You should be seeing that now. Now I'm going to stop and check that. What I want to see is that just missed. Comes right on by there. You can see that line and comes right on by, so that I don't take anything extra away. All right. So now I have a visual reference. Again, this little detail tool is handy. And that's all bumpy inside, that's why it's making noise. But what I'm doing is establishing this wall thickness so I have a good visual. You see, I'm kind of just breaking some of that a little bit. You got to remember, this is not fully cured yet. Okay. So now I know where I'm working to, and I'm actually going to, because my round cutter is kind of big at the moment, I'm going to come in here with a radius square cutter and take some of that away. It never hurts to try different tools. Just because a tool has this is always important for me, just because a tool has a certain name on it, finisher, detailer, rougher, square, round, pointy, bowl gouge, spindle gouge, if you find that a certain tool does a certain thing that you need at the moment, I like my stringers, if you find that a tool will do what you need, don't worry about what it's called. As long as it's safe and it's not going to hurt, not going to break the tool, there's nothing dangerous about it. A tool is a cutting implement and can be used as such, should be used as such. There are so many variables in what we do that it's important. Don't be tied to what something is called, okay? A lot of people get hung up on that. I'm not so much there at all. All right, back inside our bowl. I just want to get myself established here real well so I'm safe with what I'm cutting and not taking away my important stuff, making my wall too thin. Because once I do this, I'm going to come back to the outside. So this is why this is important. I get this established. Okay. Now I'm going to come to the outside real quick, and because we don't have a lot of time, it's just hit noon. And I'm going to come along this outside of this bowl with the radius square style cutter. Negative radius cutter. I'm going to clean up the outside of this the best I can. Now, one thing I want to do real quick is, because my things just rust around here and everything else, I want to clean up my tool rest super quick with just my file, because this is my finish cut for this before any kind of sanding or polishing, and we're not going to get a lot of sanding and polishing in today. But I just hit that tool rest real quick with my flat file so that I know that it's as smooth as I can get it in a quick fashion. All right. Now go back to the overhead for you, and I'm going to come in here and clean this up. Make sure that tool is at the center axis. And I'm going to take my speed up a little bit. And I'm in the overhead. Now this tool is radiused, so I'll just be cutting with the center section of it. If you happen to have a fan that you can blow on when you're doing this, it's great. What we're trying to do is get all the tool marks out so that we don't have to sand very much. The reason I wanted to make sure I knew where that inside wall was and was established well, so that I didn't turn too much away up here. Okay, so you can see quickly I start to smooth up the tool marks. So the round carbide tools, they leave some grooves in there, and that's what we want to get out. So we want to have this looking uniform. And when it all has the same uniform look to it, and it feels smooth, of course. And this is a very light touch, so now you understand why I wanted to clean up the tool rest, okay? Because nobody likes sanding a lot. Now there's some great nebula swirls almost in here, if you will. I mean, and so I was able to save this action from what happened with my resin setting up faster than I expected. Still got one hump right there, one spot. So I got something in here. It might be something I'm getting a little funny cut right there. And I think what I'll do is I'll hit this real quick with some polishing compound before we go to the inside, so at least we can see what it's going to look like on the outside. It won't be perfectly. I'll real quick light sand it. It won't be done completely, but you'll get an idea of what this will look like. Can you see how fine that powder is that I'm cutting now? That's resin sawdust, if you will. Okay, and I'm getting a real smooth finish coming off of there. All right, that really feels nice. See where you can maybe see that a little bit more. I know you can't quite see the texture, but that feels pretty good. I'll clean up the top here a little bit more. Now again, I would sand this more than I'm going to make it really nice or less work for me with the polishing compound. And so if I've got a tool mark in here, something right in here is giving me a tool mark right in there, and I'm not sure why it's doing it. I hope I didn't have my head in there, because I hate to sand, especially sand and resin. So there's going to probably be some lines right there. They don't seem to want to cooperate with me today to go away quickly. But I want to go ahead and polish this real quick, and then I'll go inside. And so in case anybody's got to go, because if they had planned noon, because it is 12:05. So let's kind of polish it. I'll hit this real quick with some paper, and then we'll hit it with some abrasive paste. And again, I'm not going to do much. I'm going to hit this with like 220 and 320 and call it good, and then abrasive paste. Just so you can see what kind of sheen and what this. I really want you to see the what the spin gems look like, once they polish up. Okay, and this glitter and all. So we're going to go into reverse, turn the speed down a little bit. And again, just a quick, nothing fancy sand. Okay, there'll be tool marks in this and all that, I get it. Now hopefully the piece that I put in the pressure pot that I didn't probably finish pressurizing the pot when the power tripped my breakers. Hopefully when we get done here in a few minutes, I'll finish pressurizing it. I don't know what it's got in it. And we won't have bubbles in our cotton candy bowl. I'll just make this shiny for you, just for fun. I am investigating another new product. It's very quick for doing resin. I came across it recently. It's a new version, and I'm going to try it out. Keep trying to find I think everybody who turns resin is looking for the elusive magic silver bullet that will clean resin and polish it, sand it and polish it quickly and easily. And you know, there's lots of different things out there, and some people use homemade batches of this and that. It's kind of nice to be able to use something off the shelf if you can get it. Okay, a little bit of abrasive paste here real quick, just to give it a quick finish so you can see these spin gems. Whenever I get in a hurry, things start falling all over the place. Must be because the shelves are full. I like my hair. Looks good. It's been so hot here, the abrasive paste is starting to separate. We'll just get that on there by hand. I'll go to the overhead for you. I just like to rub it in by hand. If you're really in a hurry, and sometimes I do this, you can just lacquer this up. Spray a couple coats of lacquer on it, but I've done that the last few times, so I thought I would use a little polish or paste, abrasive paste on them this time. Again, it's got tool marks in it. It was sanded in 45 seconds, but you'll get the idea. So you can see already, just with a quick round, it starts to pop. Let me take that round of abrasive off of there. Get my paper towels that fell on the floor. That's what the clunk was. And then we'll go to a finer grit. I'd love to have that spinning color. If I could have a color that looked like that spinning, standing still, that would be really cool. So you can see how that's looking. That's looking really nice. Interesting. I mean, it's interesting to have the two-tone, the two-stage, if you will. Even if it wasn't what I had in mind, it still has a pretty nice look to it. Hey, somebody's got wood chips in my paste here. How did that happen? Gonna have to clean that out. Again, I like to put it on with it not moving to start with. It may just be me, but that's how I do it. And we'll fire it up. And then we'll put a sheen in here. And then I'll go ahead and jump on the inside, and I'll turn the inside till we've got the clunk out of the way, and you get that figured out. You'll see how it works. Because I got nowhere to go but to the office and to work. But this is coming up nicely. I'm going to put another fresh batch. I can feel it under. You can feel when a surface comes smooth. You can just feel it in your hand as it comes around. You know, as you're working, always use a paper towel. Don't ever use a cotton T-shirt. A paper towel will tear if it was to catch while I was doing this. So always use a paper towel for this. Now I'll take the clean side. Again, this is just quick, real quick. You got to run, Michael? Okay, thanks for coming in. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Take care up there. Be good. All right, look at that. Are we overhead? Yeah. See how nice that looks? And I'll zoom in, but it'll probably go out of focus because it's on manual focus. I'm going the wrong way anyway. So just a quick sand. I love that glitter. Okay. Definitely two-tone, two-stage. But hey, you get that sometimes. So let's go on back out to a normal spot. Something right in there. And we'll go ahead and attack the inside of this thing now. So for you, those of you who want to hang around, that's all cool. We're going to go inside here. And let me get over to that camera. So at least if I break it, when I go inside here now, the outside was nice and smooth and pretty, at least at one point. You want me to save that one for you, Dad? You got it. Not a problem. So right here, and you can't see it unless I do this, is a line, and I can see through, I can see my finger. See if I can find a way. The light won't do it. Where it's pretty thin right there. So we're going to have to be careful. Well, actually, we're not going to be touching this side at all because we've been cutting on all the rest of it. All right. So it is fairly thin there. You can see, I can see daylight through. It's right where the two lines meet, where the spin gems and the swirl resin meets. Okay. Make sure that we're centered up. I'll try and keep my head out of the way. I don't know if we can go in there any closer or not. I'm going to put my power controls right up here. That's in reverse. Forward would be good. Take her back up to about 1,000. Now there's going to be a lot of clunking going on here because I'm way over in here as I start to cut this. And I see vibration there. It's making the camera vibrate. I apologize for that. Because this is a 1/2 inch out of round on the inside. Way out of round down in there. Yeah, I'm right at the center. So it's just going to take a little bit of work. Although, I mean, it's going to be the perfect wall thickness when it's done. Resin is plenty strong. The piece won't be fragile. Once we get past all these high spots, get that out of there. I don't know if I can zoom. If I zoom that in anymore, it'll stay in focus. I always like you to be able to see what's going on. See if my ring's in focus. Looks a little vibratey though, but. I'm going to see just how out of focus that is. I might adjust that focus a little bit. Let's see if that's not looking a little bit better. Hard for me to tell with my goggles on. I think I went too far. Get back up here just a little bit. Light's trying to see what that looks like as far as focus goes. Okay, here we go. This is the hard part, getting it smoothed out from being out around. Just takes a little time and patience to get down in there. Keep the air moving across the motor. Be pretty inside and out. It's already pretty on the outside. Again, this cutter has been used for a while, and the spin gems are really hard on a cutter, so it's not a fresh new cutter by any means. So it's having to work a little bit harder to do the work, and I don't want to take the time to change it right now. So that vibration is just from the thinness and the flex of the bowl on the upper rim. I think I kind of messed that focus up a little bit too much. That might be better. All right, let's get in here. Let's get this. See how we're doing. Just one little section that's still our thinnest spot right in there. About 2 inches that we're not cutting till we get down to that final wall thickness. And then a fair bit down in the bottom here. So we want to move gingerly up here. I'm giving a little support with my finger to the outside just to keep some of the flex. You can't put a lot of pressure because your finger will get hot. I was thinking about turning this cutter real quick. Now I've got 100 wrenches in the house, and I don't know if I have one of them out here at all. I always never have one out here, is my deal, whenever I need one. Because I always lose them in the washing machine. But I'm going to take a quick look in the infamous drawer. See if I can't rotate this cutter. You think I would just bring about 50 of them out here so that I wouldn't have this issue on a regular basis. I only come out here once a week. But I am a hardhead. Oh well. We're just about there, so I'll quit grumbling. Well, change it. So another thing you can do if you can't change it, rotate your cutter, you can rotate your tool. Alright, we're closing right in on this guy. Indeed we are. I'm just checking something real quick over here. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Super close. Closer all the time. If you hear that high-pitched screech, I apologize. That's just the flexing of the bowl up here on the edge. Got to remember this resin was just poured yesterday, so it's not truly completely 100% cured. You should really, with any of the resins, you should probably wait a week before you turn them. You'd be better off. They're nice and cured and solid. We got to be getting close on this top. Boy, okay, so right at the very, very lip, we are now at the thickness we need. Boy, I don't know about some of that inside right there. That's going to be really thin. So we may kind of not do some of that. We may let one part be a little wonky in there, because I'm afraid I'm going to run out of material. This is still a whole lot better. Can you imagine if I hadn't put the bowl inside a bowl to make this? What we would have, how much resin we would have to be turning out here, plus the waste of materials would be enormous, and that's not necessary. So that's where I'm going to stop there, because I do want to put a different cutter on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a little polish in here, because it's getting late and we all need to get on with our day. So we'll just throw a little bit of polish in here real quick. I'll run through it with the sandpaper just for jokes. Just a quick hit with the sandpaper on the rim. And again, this inside isn't completely finished up. But I can just come back out here and turn it when I put a fresh cutter on. I really do need to get a fresh one on there. But this way at least you can see how pretty this is, color wise at least. Alright, you'll see a bunch of tool marks in here and all that good stuff. That's okay, I can live with it because I'm going to finish turning it. I just ran out of cutter and time. So when that leaned off to its side, that made a huge issue to deal with making that wall really thin on the piece. And that bottom is super rough. Again, that's going to get turned away, so I don't think I'll worry about it too much. What I will do is I'm going to leave this in the chuck, and I will get another cutter and come back out here when it's cool again and finish turning this. Because if I take this out of the chuck and put it back in, if I take it out of the chuck and put it back in, the chances of getting it to be where it is right now exactly are pretty thin. And with as thin as that wall is, there's a good chance that I would not get it to line back up. So I'm just going to leave it there. That is one of the beauties of having multiple chucks. Sometimes if you've got something else to do, well, you can just leave one chucked up. I mean, it's only money. So that you can come back and get to something else when you have time. If you've got something else pressing that you need to do. We'll go back into here real quick. It's a cool little piece. I love these spin gems the way they work. Take off the excess, wipe down the outside. What I'll do is I'll just take the chuck off the lathe and kind of show this to you. Again, the inside it's not finished being turned, but the clock says time to go. Clock says time to go. Let's see. Let you look back in there again. It's out of focus. Looks like on that end, so never mind that. We'll just pop this guy off of here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me till 12:29, half an hour after the fact. So this turned out to be a great little piece. I'll go to the overhead for you. So now you can see the side profile really well. The stones look great. It gets out of focus because it's not on auto. Let me try something here real quick. If I can get away with this. Let's see if I can put it on auto on the focus world and bring that right up to you. There you go. So it looks pretty neat. And then the inside, well, when it gets finished turning, that will be really nice looking. Again, we've got a variety of things. You can see how the glitter settled in the bottom there, just because it's heavier. So that'll clean up some. That hasn't been turned away yet. So we've got a nice swirl on the top, and our red, white, and blue on the bottom. Kind of looks like a strawberry sundae for 4th of July on the top with the sparklers. So I put the glitter in there. It doesn't glitter have the sparkler effect, just like we have sparklers going off. All right. Okay, good deal. So that was a fun project. We got that good. Hopefully our piece in the pot that tripped the power, well, I think that we'll see how that comes out. I'll pull it out later on, and we'll put a picture. I'll post a picture unless it completely is destroyed and junk. And the plate that I got in there, I'm curious about that as well. Let's see. Lorianne's looking forward to what I have on Wednesday. Yeah, I am too. You know, I haven't planned that far out. I don't go there. Wednesday's 2 days away. That means I got a day and 3/4 to plan what I'm going to do on Wednesday. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today on Monday Methods. I had a wonderful time. I hope you like my hairstyle in the hot, sweaty South Georgia. It was fun playing with the resin and the spin gems. I hope you will join us here on the Spiracraft page on Facebook and on YouTube or on YouTube for our anniversary celebration, our second anniversary. We're giving away all kinds of good tools. Drop into the page there, find the link to the registration. Register. Doesn't cost you anything to register, and you don't have to show up if you've got to work to win the free stuff, the tools and the supplies, the epoxies, etc. 10 to 15% discounts in the store, and that goes through the 5th, all through the holiday weekend for you, to say Happy Independence Day and thank you for supporting Spiracraft. We really appreciate it. Everybody, y'all have a great day. Stay calm, stay safe, be good, and I will see you on Wednesday and next Monday. All right, good day now. Bye.